And of course, we're talking about the necessary conversation, family podcast
Yeah,
about politics,
that's
Trump,
right.
MAGA, and what happens when adult children try to really just suck their parents out of the MAGA bubble
That's right.
and get them back.
That's an experience that is much more common, unfortunately, I think, in this day and age. They're not the only adult children that are going through that. I think, though,
No,
that for this, the way that I understand the genesis of this particular podcast was that Chad and Haley, who are the
two
adults,
adult children.
correct. They were basically almost no contact, I think, with their MAGA parents. And they didn't want that to go on and they wanted to be a part of their parents' lives, which let's put a pin in that point because I think that's a point that's interesting that it was the kids that had to be the ones to come with an idea for how to stay connected with their parents. Their parents weren't the ones that did that, but there was almost like an olive branch from the kids that were like, look, how about this? We can have a podcast every week. That will be the only time we talk about politics, and then we can be in each other's lives otherwise, which is actually a very mature, great idea, Chad.
And they can't talk about it outside of the podcast. That
Correct.
was what was surprising to me. I guess the parents. It sounds like Mary Lou and Bob, the parents, were the ones
Very
that were incessantly wanting to bring it up.
Yikes, man. Yeah.
This episode is with the founder of Leaving MAGA, Rich Logis,
I'm
who
excited.
I've followed. I was like, they need deflectors. They need people from the other side. That's the only way to move the needle.
Okay, so did you know this guy before
Oh
you?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
so you were following
follow
him before. I had never
for
heard of this
sure.
guy.
Definitely interested in his story. I'll say the only thing I did notice is when I got so excited and went on his page, I was like, oh, not too many followers. It looked to be up and coming. And I guess I had higher hopes for, the crowd that would flock to it. I thought everybody was
Got it.
flocking. But of course, that might be just high hopes. So,
Also, though, after his appearance on the Necessary podcast, maybe he'll have maybe it'll bring some more traction because Hunter
for sure.
Biden gave him a shout out. I mean, they're like kingmakers now.
I feel like I'm watching it like game tape,
Mm, a
looking at those
100%,
expressions.
100% like game tape. Also, I think like for example, when I've had difficult conversations about political things with my mom, it goes very differently than a similar conversation that I would have with someone who isn't my mom because of
Such a great
obviously
point.
there's like so much there that gets tangled up and confused, and so I can understand why maybe the reactions are a little more like than they would be if it were somebody that wasn't their mom.
Here's my theory on that. I think you're absolutely on to something. I think the spoiler alert of this entire podcast is that parents will never see their adult children as like
Adults?
correct or adults. And I don't think that is unique to this family. I think
No.
that's anywhere. I don't think you're gonna go out and find a ton of success stories of like adult children personally radically changing their
Yeah,
parents'
I
minds.
agree completely.
That's humiliating.
I get more worked up in those conversations than any other conversations I have in my life. I say things that after they come out, I'm like, why did I say that? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, it'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna get a rise out of you if you're gonna try. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a
There's
little
just
tit for tat.
a
Like
lot,
two
a
kids
lot.
on the playground.
That's right. That's right. I love my mom. But it's complicated when you try to.
It's complicated.
I think some of the ways that and again, not trying to, like you said, like armchair quarterback, but when they almost like put words in her mouth, for example, on this journey of you to get out of MAGA, and she's like, wait a minute, I never agreed. I never
When
agreed
did
to
she say
that.
that?
And so it's kind of like maybe she's like a baby bird. She's like a baby bird that we have to be gentle with her.
If you want to let Mary Lou know the truth and how twisted her mind is, then you can say all those things. And she's going to stay on there for
That's
all of
right.
5 seconds before all of her defensiveness comes up and she just shuts down.
Yep.
If you want to persuade
Here it is.
her or anyone else
Yeah.
baby bird.
Baby bird. I've started treating my mom like a baby bird, and it actually, I'm seeing a difference. I'm seeing a difference. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's quite right. How about we look it up together versus that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life, you know?
And I want to validate Amy here. I want to validate Chad and Haley that
Everyone.
it is not fair. Okay.
No, it's definitely not fair.
You are correct. And Mary Lou's way of thinking is incorrect.
Correct. That's
But
right.
again, if you want to persuade
That's right. What's the goal? Is the goal
What is
to
the
is the goal to just tell her what you think?
embarrass her? Because that's how she feels.
Embarrass her? Yeah. And that's not maybe not your intention, but that is the impact. And so it's like, what is the goal? Is the goal, like you said, to bring her out, or is the goal to just be like, this is what we think. We think that what you think is dumb. Which if that's the goal, that's the goal. But it
That's the
seems
goal.
like their goal is not that. It seems like their goal is to, but you got a baby bird. You got a baby bird.